Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us for our SOLIDWORKS Sell presentation. I wanted to start off by saying we slightly changed the theme of the presentation. Not a lot, but just a key thing to make sure that you understand the messages coming across. So we're going to talk about SOLIDWORKS Sell and the notion of utilizing customization, visualization, and the Sell application to enhance any CPQ systems as opposed to compete. So we're not creating a new acronym, we're not creating a new genre of software. We basically want to highlight the idea of using better visualization to enhance the CPQ customer experience. So I'm joined by Angela Smith from SOLIDWORKS. We'll get an introduction to her in a few minutes. So let's just talk about the agenda. So as I said, we're presenting SOLIDWORKS Sell. It's a new solution from SOLIDWORKS to enable customers to utilize or leverage their 3D models to help sell their products. We'll let Angela give a brief introduction to herself and the solution, and we'll talk a little bit about the Javelin team. We're going to talk about some of the buyers' trends and behaviors, and especially in this day and age of how people buy things and how people sell things. We're going to talk about how this solution helps to introduce a higher level of visualization to enhance the CPQ, configure, price, quote type of solution that a lot of companies are using these days. We're going to talk about a success story that a company that Angela is working with. And we'll review some of the demo websites that are built using the SOLIDWORKS Sell application. Following the demonstration of the websites, we're going to talk about some of the key features and benefits about SOLIDWORKS Sell. There's a lot of really unique things about it that make it a high-value solution for any organization. And then we'll get into questions and answers. So let's get into introductions. Angela, can you give us a 30-second introduction to yourself?
Sure. I have over 10 years experience in visualization software, and our previous product that was kind of my little baby is now known as SOLIDWORKS Visualize. So I understand the pains in the visualization pipeline once it kicks over from engineering, and how that is more pressure on the engineering team from the marketing and sales for what sometimes is referred to as pretty pictures. So we want to really help release that bottleneck. We want to help you reduce the cost of sales and, get the visualization and imagery out there for your customers to view, for them to make decisions faster and help you in the quoting and sales process. So thanks so much for having this today, John, with you and your team, and I'm happy to help answer any questions that you and your customers have.
Excellent, thanks, Angela. I'm hoping that you'll interject fairly frequently with some comments about some of the companies that you've worked with that's going to add value to the people that are on this this webinar. So thanks
Sure.
Again. So my name is John Mignardi. I've been with Javelin for a little over 19 years. I am account manager on the CPQ and automation team, and really like the capabilities that this application gives to our customers. So before we get into showing it, we are students of the sales process, and we always read about buying trends and behaviors, and any of this type of information is easily found on Google. So if you type in and looking for some of these stats, you'll know that 87% of shoppers begin product searches online. They will go right to Google, do a search, and they'll find what they need, or at least 100,000 options of how they can find what they need in under half a second. The world is going to augmented reality, and we feel that not just from a consumer standpoint, but from a retailer standpoint, they are looking at augmented reality, AR and VR, virtual reality solutions to help sell their products. So it's a very common theme for people who are looking to sell their product, give the nice buying experience, get people onto the website, keep them on the website until they make a commitment to purchase. The other thing we see is that one size does not fit all, and customization is the new loyalty. And whenever, whether it's running shoes or T-shirts or industrial equipment, a lot of times people need to find a solution that works specifically for them. And as I mentioned on the last point, it's not just businesses to consumers, but it's also business to business. Customization is very important because, like I said, one size does not fit all.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, AR, as far as what we're offering completely out of the box, it's become more and more important no matter what industry you're in. Obviously it probably took hold a lot faster with consumer good level products. Me being a consumer, yes, I want to see it. I want to interact with it. Still images are no longer enough. I want something 3D interactive, but even beyond that, I want to see it in my own environment. So that's become a really important factor with a lot of industries we're involved with, even down to manufacturing and capital equipment. Less stuff to lug to the trade show if you can just pull it up on your iPad and then you can view it right in front of you. As you can understand scale, you can kind of virtually kick the tires on it. So, and with AR that we're offering, it's not device restricted at all. Like you don't need to have goggles on or anything. You can easily view it from any device. So it really kind of frees up how your customers and your internal teams can really view the product and get an understanding of it a lot earlier on in the process, whether it's designed to market or to make a quick buying or sales decision a lot faster. Really important.
Great point. And I can personally tell you that I've taken a lot of purchases from my wife home, put it together, see what it looks like in our house, take it apart and bring it back to the store. So if you have the ability to visualize what the product looks like in your house or in your facility, it always helps on making sure you got the right thing. So good point. The other point we're trying to promote, and I mean, if you've used SOLIDWORKS, one of the key things about moving to SOLIDWORKS is that you get better visualization as opposed to a 2D AutoCAD file. And so we are basically taking that to the nth degree and leveraging 3D content, visual content, so that your customers who are on your website are able to see better what they're buying. And so not only are they able to customize or configure, but they're also able to see what that product looks like, either through a realistic, photorealistic rendering or an AR model. So as I said when I first kicked off the presentation, we're not trying to create a new acronym, CVS. We're just trying to highlight the idea of enhancing CPQ, configure, price, quote, with visualization. And a lot of CPQ systems, you're picking numbers or values, and they may look like a glorified Excel spreadsheet, but when you add the element of customization and people are able to see your product as they customize it, so whether it's a size specification, a style, or a color, just the idea that someone could have either through a phone or a tablet or a laptop, they have a real nice understanding of what the image is. They could spin it around, they can zoom in, zoom out, and they can plot that product right into their location and buckle it to eCommerce solutions, so people get a real nice buying experience. And without talking about it a lot more, we're going to show it in a few moments. But again, the main idea is to leverage your CAD models and utilize them on your website so that you have a better buying experience for your customer. Anything to add there, Angela?
No, I think that's great. It can be used by internal teams just with customize. It can be used just within the quoting process on a website. And then, yeah, if you want to further connect into an e-commerce solution, you can, but you can meet it at all different levels, especially, our capital equipment customers probably aren't using the e-commerce portion unless they're utilizing it for their aftermarket and their parts replacement. So you could definitely start with one solution and have the solution grow with you as your needs grow as a business.
Great point. Do you want to talk about this application?
Sure. So we had a customer called Desk Makers, and they're in California, beautiful products. And we wanted to show all the different variations of, there's millions of different iterations shown in this. So, you know, to pre-render, pre-configure all those options could be very difficult. There's a reason that a lot of home-built configurators started with the Nikes and the automotives and the aerospace of the world, because usually you're outsourcing something, you're paying someone to pre-configure and pre-render all these different options. So with something like this, you can quickly show all these different options, all these different variations, and it really, I think it was in the tens of millions of different iterations that are shown here, just by the changing lengths, variations, and then all the different rules that we've applied in the background of, if you click this solution, then only these other flowchart sort of solutions pick up, you know. So here's the variations of the different side pieces, the legs, the cabinets, all those different variations. Yeah, so you can quickly set this up internally where you can upload all the different variations, and then you can have this private browser link that you can share with your internal team, as well as we provide the APIs that you can further embed that to your website, either just to be viewed, or you can also add a button for the quoting process that will capture the different configurations. And then from there, if you are working with dealers, maybe you don't do direct e-commerce, you can have this connected to microsites of your dealers. And then from there, let's say there are a few pieces that you want to sell direct, separate from your dealers, you'll be able to do that as well.
Great point. And you know, one of the things that stuck in my mind, and I'll explain why. One of our customers wanted to have photorealistic renderings of every one of 1 million of their products, or configurations of their products, and we had to. This was a couple of years ago. That we had to write a script to be able to do that in a high volume, right? And have it run for weeks at a time to create all those. But with the solution, you let the software do the work, right? It will, as you need them on demand, when you choose configuration, the software will create a photo rendering. You can click on the button below to capture it, so you can use it in the sales process. But just that whole notion of having to create, you know, thousands and thousands of different photo renderings. Not that it can't be done, but this is a much more elegant solution.
And John, can you click on one of the pictures below?
Yeah, this is a video. This is a.
Oh, gotcha. So with the pictures captured below, so what you're viewing right now in the larger screen, that's our dynamic rendering. And when you kick off kind of a rendering, if you click that camera icon, we send it to separate servers to utilize photoreal rendering as a next level above that. So you really have two high quality levels of rendering at your fingertips. It's also important to reiterate that the software itself is browser based. So you're going to log in to SOLIDWORKS Sell via a browser, just as you would with any other sort of browser based software. So you don't have to worry about device restrictions. So you could be setting this up for this configurator to show all different variations, to have AR out of the box, as well as be kicking off these high-end renderings from any device. So you never have to worry about hardware restrictions. If you can log into a website, you can log into the software itself and have those high-quality renderings is really valuable.
So why don't we get into some of the examples that we wanted to show, just to show that that is the case. The first one I'd like to start off with is this water jet machine. It was interesting. I met these folks at a recent trade show at the CMTS. I was able to show them their device on a phone, and I said, "Hey, look, this is what you're able to do with our software to try to sell your product." So you can see quickly here, and we'll get into the photorealistic rendering, but you can see here that you know, if I'm modifying the door, I could change it to a different color, and you can see that I get the dynamic photorealistic rendering taking place. I can do things with the door, for example. I can close them or keep it open. And for the nozzles, for example, if I wanted to really take a close look rather than go hunting around, I can zoom into where I need to be and configure the machine to what I need to do.
Yeah, well. And if anyone in this webinar attended any of our rollouts, you probably saw us featuring OMAX and how we set it up at different configurations of this water jet machine. And they're kind of, you can set up kind of preset animations, kind of as how it's set up, so that, you know, when you click on the nozzle, you can have it automatically zoom in and open up the machine to exactly where that piece is, you know, so somebody doesn't have to go searching for it. So you can have all these presets of where it's zooming in and, you know, where it's spinning around depending on what option your customers are choosing. Also, just looking at the different displays, if you click on Display John below, you can show how it can add different 3D options into a scene as well, so customers could see that. If you click on Safety, you could see that we add in different options that could be hidden from the scene as well. So out of the box, just a really powerful software where you're not going to be spending a lot of time using solutions outside of the DS and SolidWorks sort of family. So with that, if you're a SolidWorks user, you could be utilizing that plugin really easily to quickly upload your CAD and quickly have a configurator set up where you can send a link to your internal team and then embed it into the website. And once it's embedded, it's a live iframe. So let's say Omax wants to change the design of this water jet. They can go back in the back end, remove a nozzle option, remove maybe a safety option, colors change, pricing, anything like that. They can change it on the back end within Sell, and it will update automatically on their website because it's a live iframe.
Good point. We're not going to show this software today, but we'll show that in a later webinar. Also want to share with you, first of all, I just hit the rendering button. So I just created this rendering just as we were talking. The other
you'll want to click on the small square. Yep.
Yep. There you go. So we just created while we were talking. The other idea was, as Angela mentioned, we have a customer that's using this tool to sell to different customers, and they can create websites branded to each one of the customers. So they can have their own logos, and one of their customers is a large Canadian coffee company, and whenever they're trying to present an idea to them, they use their logos to be able to help improve the buying experience, just to make it more custom and to let them know that they are the ones that they're working with and not just a generic website. So really nice capability to have. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, when you have something embedded onto your website, you can still have these private browser links, as John had mentioned. So you can still have these private browser branded links that you can share with your internal teams and maybe with your dealers or with your sales team. That could be privately branded, and that could be separate from what you have on your website. So you have a lot of flexibility with that.
That's a great point, and we'll get into a little bit of that a little bit later, just so you know that you have the proper context of what we're talking about. The next website, did you want anything else, show anything else on this one? Can I move on, Angela?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's, you know, I started by going to this page. This is publicly available. You can click on any one of these sites to show them. I'm just going to click on a couple that look really slick and make a few points that I want to share with you. Here's an example of an application where we've embedded that iframe onto a website that has the ability to show different options of materials. So if you're looking at Amazon, you've got this capability, right? Right, you could take a close look and maybe look at a picture, but with SOLIDWORKS Sell, you could spin it around. You can take a real close look just to see if there's any specific texture on there, and it's a nicer way to do a thorough interrogation of what that product looks like. And so it's another way to leverage your 3D models onto an existing website and improve the buyer's experience. What are they going to get? And I know when I'm on Amazon or other websites, and if I don't get to spin that thing around, I really don't know. I don't have a good, comfortable feeling. I guess I'm used to it being a 3D guy, but I just think that it gives a lot when you're able to spin it around, and just the idea that you can leverage your CAD models to do
Absolutely.
that, quite powerful.
Yeah, I want to interact with it. I don't want a still picture. If I want to spin it around, I want to see what the back looks like. I want to see every detail. And Leisure Creations isn't utilizing it, but you could also have an extra button for augmented reality, and I could use augmented reality and see it in my backyard and take a picture of it as if it's right there, so I can see if it matches the other patio furniture I have. And you know, I could crouch down and have someone seemingly looking like they're sitting on it, take a picture of that. And I've done that with other products where, you know, once you're viewing it in AR, you can also take a picture of it so you can kind of see what it's going to look like and send it off to somebody else and say, hey, what do you think about this new design? Or, you know, you send it off to somebody and say, hey, this is what I'm going to buy.
So that is actually coming up. Let's, okay, so let's spin out of this one. And I really like this one. Like the visual on this chair is just unbelievable, right? Now, the reason for showing this example, not only because of the great representation that this gives you, but just the concept that you can buckle these to e-commerce solutions so that if you're selling on Shopify or Magento or any of those types of sites, you can add this iframe so that your customer could really see what they're looking at, and they can customize it, see, you know, get a real close look. And this one doesn't have the AR button, but we'll show that in about 45 seconds. So do you want to talk about this for a bit, Angela?
Sure,
Points?
this kind of shows a good representation of our e-commerce. So obviously, you know, some customers are just using digital catalogs. So instead of saying add to the cart, maybe it just says quote or have someone contact me. But once you have it connected into e-commerce, and we've worked with all the top e-commerce partners out there, Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce. There's new ones all the time, and our APIs are pretty open, so they allow you to connect into any website, into any e-commerce platform. But this is a good representation of, okay, yeah, I want to click through, I want to see all those quick options. I want to see how the pricing changes depending on which option I'm choosing, whether it's the material that increases the price or the wood or anything like that. And what's really important, so that's important to a customer experience, but also thinking about our internal teams. A lot of times, let's say this is, you know, equipment and you're getting a requisition from a customer, and it's the back and forth between the engineers and the sales team. This helps kind of explain the product with the customer interacting on their own time. You know, more and more customers want to do their own research, and I want to see all the options first on my own time, and then I'm going to go to somebody with questions if I have them. But I really want to have a platform where I can see all those different options on my own, do my own research. That's what the customers want, and that also helps our own internal teams. It helps kind of cut down on that back and forth between sales and engineering and that bottleneck that's created. You know, we want to help relieve that bottleneck and that pressure that's more and more falling on our engineers, because more of the marketing and sales experiences are requiring 3D interaction. So they're going back to the engineering teams and kind of putting the pressure on them. So this releases that bottleneck. This allows them to kick it over the cubicle wall and either set something up really quickly for their teams, or for their marketing teams that are, a good majority of them are not on PCs, or on Macs, means that they can then access into Sell and take the 3D data that you've uploaded and use it and to produce the images that they need for their needs.
And that's a great point. This tool, a lot of times, is in the hands of the sales and marketing people, and takes away work. Like, who in design wants to create 75,000 configurations of different materials and different frames and different seats? Like the nice thing about Sell, one of the nice things about Sell is that you can push that over to the marketing people, and they could work through this. Easy to set up, and then go through all the different materials to say, I like these, I don't like those, that sort of idea. So the last one I want to show you, and I just want to, full disclosure, I've got this set up as an application on my iPad. So I'm going to show the fact that not only can I change the material on this chair, I can change things like the lower posts, and every time I make a change, the model updates. Okay, let me go to this upper post and put some arms on it. Change the base. So this is all happening in real time. Real nice visualization. I really like this one. What I'm
And
going to do
again,
is
this is
this.
only the dynamic rendering that you're seeing. For a lot of our customers are like, the dynamic rendering is great, it's all I need. But then you also have the option to have the higher end rendering available as well.
So now what I'm going to do is I've got this application on a tablet, and I'm going to show you the augmented reality capability. So I'm going to hit one button there to show or get it into the augmented reality mode. So right now you're looking at my tablet, and hit the augmented reality button there, and oops. All right, so now I've got this chair on my tablet, and I've put it inside the room from where I'm broadcasting from. So I went from having a 3D model set up in SOLIDWORKS Sell on that website, and now I've got an augmented reality chair in my office. So when you're talking about giving the customer an excellent buying experience where they could see, okay, well, what does this thing look like in my office? Do I have to go in and, now what does that color look like? Let me see if I want to, if I go back.
And you can also scale it down and it will show you what scale it's at. You know, when it's in the configurator too, you can click on a ruler and it will show you all the different measurements. And we'll show you a QR code at the end too, that you can take a picture of that QR code and you can view this specific configurator I set up for the Javelin webinar on your desktop, and then you can view it through AR on your phone or tablet as well.
There you go. So I've just changed the color. I'm going to scale it back and see what this looks like inside of my room. Now, the one amazing thing about this whole thing, and it reminds me of a customer that we've been working with, is that they now have the ability to sell this product without ever having to make it. So before they even prototype, they can build and leverage this 3D model with all the different colors, fabrics, base style. They can literally start selling this before they make their first one. And
absolutely.
Yeah, the ability to put this into somebody's office or home or wherever they want to deploy this chair, it's pretty incredible. And
yeah, even now, consumer goods, obviously, like even within the design teams, no matter who's using, a lot of people will start off just using Customize, or they'll use Customize with their internal teams. They'll, even during design review, I have a design, I'm going to quickly pop it in within AR. I can see all the different rendering options that I can provide as a link to everyone in my team to say, hey, what do you think of this design? I can look through AR and I can view last year's physical design, and then I can see next year's proposed design before we've even invested a dime in any sort of prototyping. And then separate from, let's say, manufacturing or machinery, like, you know, I can see exactly what that's going to look like in my production space. I can see if it's going to fit. I can see it to scale. I can understand what it's going to look like before I make that final purchase. And that really helps in that sort of quoting process for those types of industries as well.
Great point. And I just put up the QR code. So if anybody wants to take a picture of that, we can actually provide you with a link so that you can go on and play with it yourself, see how quick, how responsive, how great the colors look with the renderings, the augmented reality. If you have an iPhone or an Android device, works really, really well. Very impressive, and it's in the box, so there's no extra programming that you need. It's one of the modules that's in the box of SOLIDWORKS Sell. So there's a bit of a show of the technology, what it looks like kind of on the front end. Let's just, I know it's getting kind of late, so let's work through some of these other final slides. So as Angela mentioned, some of the unique things about SOLIDWORKS Sell is that it's a cloud-based configurator solution. So the software, there is no software to install, both to build these websites and to access these websites as a user. And with this, SOLIDWORKS has gone to a software as a service purchasing model. So you pay on an annual basis for it, and it makes it slightly different than what their normal software practice has been. but a lot of people are moving in that direction, and it looks like it's working out for a lot of our customers. As we said, the iframe can be embedded into any existing website, or actually be the entire website. So you've got some options as to how you can present it or expose it to the outside world. And as Angela mentioned, first of all, it scales to millions of users. So if you're selling a commercial product and you're worried about 30,000 people being on the site at one time, no need to worry. It's built to scale up that way. And now we talk about the buying experience, and I think we mentioned it before. The buyer could be someone in sales and marketing. It could be an end user. It could be an end customer. It could be a dealer. The whole idea is that you've come up with a real nice buying experience. You've got rich 3D data to share with them. And in most cases, this application is being used by marketing and web designer teams, as opposed to the folks in design, although people in design can use it to sell ideas and concepts internally. So it's a great way to add value within an organization, leverage your models like you're using for all kinds of other tasks within your business. And the other nice thing about it is that there's low IT involvement. Not having to worry about any software to install, upgrades, buying servers, sizing up servers. It's basically pay as you play model, software as a service, and you can get up and running really, really quick. Now, in terms of the technology, obviously we're leveraging 3D. We're all 3D people here, and this enables you to leverage products that have an endless number of configurations. We can work with multiple CAD formats. As long as it's 3D, we can get it into our system. We can work with it. As we showed, the photorealistic rendering, quite powerful. It's dynamic, so every time I make a change, our servers quickly create a new version of that model and allow you to spin it around, so you can really get a good look at it. We also create bills of materials. So if someone places an order, there is BOMs that are created kind of in the background to be able to put this into production. We can introduce live changes or changes on the fly. So if Angela wanted to change the interface of that Javelin chair application, she could, or I could, and we could make it look somewhat different or totally different, depending on what the change was that was made. There is information that can get exported for manufacturing, and we like to talk about the idea of being an out of the box solution to compete with the fractured custom market. Like it is a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people are using CPQ systems. Whether you use this as your front end or as a visualization tool embedded into your own existing website, you get a lot of options. Do you want to add anything to that, Angela?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz behind the screen, where you can easily set up the configurations. Maybe you're just using that as an internal tool. You can easily have a private browser link. You can throw on an iPad for your sales team at a trade show. And beyond that, you have the high quality rendering, augmented reality. You have all of that just within Customize. And then when you want to embed to a website, we provide those APIs, as well as to e-commerce. And then separately from that, if you have different teams that are going to be using it in different ways, there's different licensing options that you can consider as well to meet all those different team needs.
Exactly. Now, it reminds me of one of our first customers who needed an application to be ready for a trade show within 3 or 4 days, and we showed them how we can put together one of their applications like literally within a couple of hours. And because we are leveraging existing data, it doesn't take that long to set these websites up and to be productive right away. And right. The other thing, yeah, go ahead.
With the AR on that one, that was really cool too. So it was, I was looking at it was kind of a half-cut interior. They were designing kind of in a half-cut of an interior. I don't want to give too much information about what they did. But when I was first viewing it in AR, it will take the lighting from the environment you're looking at it through. So just as much as John was showing the chair in his office, when I was showing this cutaway 3D CAD that the customer provided, when I looked at it through AR in my environment, I could see my ceiling light reflected in the aluminum backing of this product. I could see my rug reflected. I could see myself reflected. So it's really powerful. It's not just kind of this flat view. It's really acting as if it's immersed in your environment. We'll start using the lighting from your environment. And beyond that, as John will mention and talk about a little bit more, we have analytics running in the background where you can be gathering information of who's looking at what. You know, you can also, as in addition to the bill of materials, you can also have an STL file that you can export for different customers to showcase.
Exactly, and those are the three things that I show on the screen. Talk about analytics, who's looking at your site, from where, augmented reality for a real nice view of your product in the user's environment, and the high quality photo rendering. The one point I should make as well is that SOLIDWORKS is developing updates to the software every 2 weeks. And so it's quickly developing, and there's a lot of customization potential even further, so that if there's functionality that's needed, if it's not coming in, it could be something that the team at Javelin and SOLIDWORKS can help you with to help you accomplish your goals. So we talked about SOLIDWORKS Sell. So there's 3 levels. There's the customized level. So this is great for internal teams. So if you're working at a furniture company and you want to have your sales and marketing people take a look at 15 different variants of wood colors, fabrics, fabric colors, patterns, that sort of thing, you can create your own private websites that you could send internally and say, okay, well, what do you think these things look like? So instead of creating hundreds of thousands of different models, or having people within the company having to know how to use SOLIDWORKS, they can quickly set this up, or a marketing person can quickly set this up in SOLIDWORKS Sell and share this internally. You can also build applications that you can send to your customer, and you can customize the website with branded with their logo. So you can produce a bunch of options, share it with the customer, and they can come back and tell you, yeah, I like this, or no, I don't like that sort of thing. So that's the entry level of customized capability. The second level is if you're wanting to put your products and set them up as digital catalogs on your website. The digital catalog includes the API that allows you to put this information onto your website. So that is the next level next level of capability of SOLIDWORKS Sell, from customized to digital catalog. The next level up is eCommerce. So if you wanted to embed these websites or an iframe into an existing website, or have this become a website, there are APIs that can be provided so that you can enable the graphical portion or any of these websites to be built using your 3D capability, the configurator capability, as well as the augmented reality. So it's 3 levels of the software. Now, we're just to give you an idea, I know we're running out of time, but just to give you an idea of what the SOLIDWORKS Sell Customize level is available. We've got 4 different levels. The starter, which is basically 1 license, which is $1,500 US. And if you have a small group, a small team, multiple people within your company that would have access to this application via a browser, we've got a 5-seat or 5 license offering at $6K US per year. For bigger teams needing up to 10 licenses, that's $12K, and anything more than that, we basically come up with an incentivized price, just so that it becomes an economical solution for larger companies. So this is the SOLIDWORKS Sell pricing for the customized level of the software. Please consult with us if you're looking at any of the higher levels. Just for the sake of time, we're just going to stick with that. And anything to add, Angela?
No, that's perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so real quick quiz. You know, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, what is an augmented reality experience worth? As you saw, I was able to put that chair into my office where I'm broadcasting from. And so your options are that what you gain, pictures worth 1,000 words, augmented reality is worth a competitive advantage, a better buying experience, thousands of dollars rather than thousands of words, or all of the above. So it's a rhetorical question. Hopefully everybody gets the idea that it's all of the above. And when we talk about leveraging, improving the buying experience, and we've talked to companies and worked with companies that wanted to be ahead of their industry. They want to leapfrog and be the leaders. And so this gets you all that. So here are our contact details. If you want to write this down, we will post this video on YouTube on the Javelin channel and make it available on the SOLIDWORKS channel. We will follow up by sending you links to it and additional information. But if there were specific questions that you had, feel free to contact either Angela direct via her email, or if you're in Canada, you can reach myself and we can start talking about your application and how we can help your business. Okay, thanks everybody, and have a great rest of the day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.